Hi there, Dave Markham here for the Brockporter. I wanted to talk with you a little more about the fire district. I've gotten a couple of emails of people that I admire and respect a great deal who chastise me for criticizing the trustees, seeming to side with them, that they're the poor victims of the nefarious plans of Paul Kimball and Clarkson and Jack Milner in Sweden. And I beg to differ with that. You know, we have some very smart, intelligent trustees, and for reasons I don't understand, they've just been willing to give away the store. As a Brockport taxpayer, you and I own millions of dollars of fire trucks, buildings, fire gear, in a fire department that has existed in this community for over 130 years. And for reasons that have never been made clear, the supervisor of Clarkson, Paul Kimball, has taken it into his head that a better governance structure for the fire department would be the creation of another layer of government with the power to tax people in that fire district with impunity. Now, where he got this idea from, he has never explained, and how that would benefit his constituents in the town of Clarkson, let alone the constituents and taxpayers in the town of Sweden and the village of Brockport. He has never explained. Maybe it is about time. The public hearing is tomorrow night, Tuesday, September 6th at 7 o'clock in the Brockport Central School, Oliver Middle School auditorium. I would go, but I'm busy with other things. It's an exercise in pseudo-democracy. It is all public relations smokescreen. Mr. Kimball is not going to explain to you why he wants a fire district. The only reason he has ever offered is that Brockport has used some of the surplus fire contract money that Brockport earned, by the way, providing services under contract to both Clarkson and Sweden. If they didn't like the contract, they can change the contract. They have not done so. So to justify the creation of a whole layer of government with the power to tax simply because the town council members of the town of Clarkson and the town of Sweden did not do a good job negotiating a fire protection services contract to their satisfaction begs the question, why don't you negotiate a fair contract? That is what the Clarkson Sweden Fire Protection District Study Committee recommended to Mr. Kimball and Mr. Milner. They've totally ignored and marginalized the recommendations of their own appointed 10-person committee. They have never explained why the town councils of Clarkson and Sweden did not adopt the recommendations of their own committee, which they appointed. Perhaps, I doubt it, tomorrow they will tell us at the public hearing why they have not decided to adopt the recommendations of their own committee and have gone in a whole separate direction of creating another layer of government. Tomorrow is a public relations production. You will not hear the opposite side of this, unfortunately. And if they conduct these hearings the same way they did for the ambulance corps back last December, it won't make any difference what you have to say anyway. In the town of Sweden, there were 2 hearings on the Brockport Volunteer Ambulance Corps. At both hearings, citizens turned out and voiced unanimous objection to the switch of the contract from the Brockport Volunteer Ambulance Corps to Monroe Ambulance. The town of Sweden Town Board totally ignored all their citizens who spoke at the hearing. It wasn't even controversial. Nobody even spoke for the transfer of the contracts to Monroe. There were over 30 people in the second hearing who asked them, begged them, not to change the contract. under the public pressure and in the media glare of the TV cameras, Councilman Cargis and a few others originally agreed on a Tuesday night to delay that decision until further study could be done. But by Friday of the same week, they reneged on their promise to the public under the glare of the TV cameras. The story I heard is that Paul Kimball and his cronies from Clarkson came flying up to the town of Sweden office building. I heard from witnesses that there was shouting going on in the room, and all of a sudden the town of Sweden council changed their vote just 2 or 3 days prior and went ahead with Clarkson and switched the contracts. That is not democracy. That is not how democracy works. And tomorrow night you will see a continuation of the charade. Now, my concern with the Brockport Village Trustees is their victimology here. You know, their only explanation for why they've capitulated to the demands and the political pressure of Clarkson and Sweden is they had no choice. Of course they had a choice. We elected them to make the hard decisions. My communicator, who I will not reveal the name of, said I was too hard on them. What are they supposed to do? Well, in my view, they have 3 options. One is to continue the Brockport Fire Department as it is. If Clarkson and Hamlin want to pull out, or Clarkson and Sweden want to pull out, more power to them. Let them go. They have not been good partners to begin with. They have given Brockport basically an ultimatum. Either you go our way or we're done with you. And so the trustees are worried about a financial deficit, except that the Brockport Fire Department would only cover 2.2 square miles instead of the 90 square miles it now covers with the towns of Clarkson and Sweden. For some reason, the town of Clarkson have convinced the village trustees that they're not going to be able to afford a fire department to cover the 2.2 square miles. Yes, they can. They don't have any good data to show that they can't. They come up with these cockamamie numbers that they claim Chief Henry gave them, that it would cost them $380,000. They have never provided any backup data to demonstrate that. The first thing they could do is do an audit of what the buildings and trucks and equipment is actually worth. We're talking millions of dollars here. And what it would take to provide fire services to 2.2 square miles. Brockport could afford it. They're claiming they can't, but they have no data to back it up. They have an obligation to their taxpayers, if they're going to be making these judgments, to back it up with some evidence. They've done nothing. So when I say that they're incompetent and they have betrayed their constituents, it's because they have not justified their decision to give away millions of dollars of Village of Brockport property that belongs to you and me, the taxpayer. I'm powerfully upset about that, and most of the village taxpayers in Brockport should. To add insult to injury, they're giving it away to a fire district that then we're being forced to participate in, that's going to tax us after we've given them millions of dollars of our assets. I don't think most people understand what's going on here, and I don't think the village trustees have done their due diligence. They have rolled over and played dead on this issue. Margie Blackman campaigned for her trustee position this year, saying that she was against a fire district. It's in writing in her pamphlet. The day she was elected, the week she was elected, she rolled over and wants to give them away millions of dollars of our assets. I just don't understand it. And when I ask her why, she says, we had no choice. We had no choice. Yes, you do. A, you could maintain the status quo. Obviously, it would have to be right-sized. Instead of serving 90,000 square or 90 square miles, it would only be serving 2 square miles. So they could right-size the fire department so that it is affordable and continues to provide good fire protection. Secondly, they could have supported the recommendation of the Clarkson-Sweden Fire Protection Study Committee recommendation that a tri-municipal committee of oversight be set up. That's the second option before we get to a fire district. That's what their own committee recommended. I have never heard Brockport support that. That's choice number 2 before we get to a fire district. I'm hoping that more taxpayers, not just Village at Brockport taxpayers, but the taxpayers in the town of Sweden and the town of Clarkson are about to have a new level of government that will be taxing them with impunity. 5 people. Now, I love teachers and I love the job they do, and I'm not taking a slam at teachers. But an analogy would be, supposing you put the teachers and the teachers' families, 5 of them, in charge of the school budget every year. Supposing they could design any budget for anything they wanted in the school district and then just impose a tax on the people who live in that school district. The teachers who have a vested interest, a special interest in this. This is what's happening in the fire department. Supposing you had a DPW and you set up a Department of Public Works district. Let's say we consolidated Clarkson, Sweden, and Brockport into just one Department of Public Works. Good idea, by the way. But supposing we did that and then allowed 5 DPW workers and their families to develop the budget every year and just tax people whatever they wanted for their DPW department. Are you for that? That's what's happening here with the fire department. Instead of having municipal input, negotiation, bargaining, you're going to have 5 commissioners who usually are fire department people or their families who are going to be developing the fire budget every year and who will be able to tax whatever they want. Chief Henry's letter in the Suburban News yesterday, September 4th, says he and the firefighters are all for a fire district. Yeah! If I was Chief Henry, I'd be for it too. He'd have to be a fool not to be for it. He's about to get the combination to the safe. And all his fellow firefighters too. It's wonderful. I don't really care if you go to the public hearing tomorrow night or not. It's only going to be propaganda and nonsense. However, it is going to be very important that you vote in the referendum. That is going to be very important in November. And there will be more information forthcoming. I appreciate your listening to me. And it's Dave Markham saying peace.